My name is Margaret Ann Windsor, but I have to use the name Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers. I was kidnapped in 41, age 2, and brought to Moulton, Alabama. Given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann, both twins had been murdered by their mother, and they were born out of wedlock. So they took my name, and I assumed had to have that name. I never assumed it willingly. But my dad is Edward the Eighth, and I've put this up on prior tapes and videos. He never married Wallace Simpson. Was lies and takedown of a beautiful man, my father, who was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe. And here's Georgia's picture. I don't have one of my mom. Okay, the reason I'm doing this is to give some background. I wrote a book about mind control murders, and Larry Flint happened to be one of those. He was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia. He says here, I know who was responsible for his shooting. I had written about him in the medical malpractice book, Larry McDonald. Now, his plane went down. He was a congressman doctor. Plane went down August 31st of 83. And what I wanted to get to here was Flint was shot by a program shooter, and this woman's illegal. Her dad, well, I don't know what's happening out there, helped take down my father. And I'll let that go. He's illegal right at the moment. I let that go. I wanted to get to this. I'm allergic to chemicals, and that's been used against me, my illness. My immune system attacks itself when I'm force-fed, and I want to say that again, deliberate toxic fumes. It makes my immune system attacks itself, and I get very ill. And over the years that it's been done, and the law enforcement is a part of this. So there's nowhere to go with it. An attorney won't touch it because he's afraid he'll die, or he doesn't care because this goes to kidnapping me, a monarch, taking down my father, and the United States was all over it, and then took everything British. When they invaded us is what they did, pretending to be friends. It kidnapped me and took my father down in illegal treaties. So I'm going to show this because the Snowden movie's coming out, and he didn't touch the tip of the iceberg, and they run him off to Russia, didn't they? So what I wanted to get here, and I'm going to show this without going into it, you got the Virginia Tech shootings, you've got lists going back that you don't know about, and murders that can't be proven. They weren't done in patterns. They were done by mind control because it's invisible. So I'm just going to show this. All right. Now, I have gone to the media over and over. The media up in the national media, especially in D.C., knew about my kidnapping, I guess the day I was kidnapped. I didn't find out until 83. I went up there, and I went to the Washington Post. Everybody thinks Katharine Graham was good because her husband, Philip Graham, was on the, don't let me forget it, it was an intelligence satellite. I'd have to go Google it. It's been so long since I've looked it up. He committed suicide. Well, that's part of this whole mind control, like Mark from Ork, Robin Williams, was supposed to have committed suicide. And you can get lists of it. And then the gunmen that are programmed to shoot mass or school shootings, etc., are programmed to shoot themselves, like at Virginia Tech. So it's murder by mind control, and both are victims. But so that I don't get off track, I wanted to get this said. I've gone to the media at the Washington Post. The reporters helped me get in, believe it or not. This is 1982, I believe. Uh, I was left on the street. I went up there with no money in the condition I was in, and it's unreal what I tried to do and what happened. But anyway, they got me in, and they deliberately told me that Catherine Graham was on the top floor, but they had security all over the place. So I had to be escorted by a reporter who suddenly showed up. He took me to his office, and he role played. If you've listened to any of this in my tapes, he role played what happened in Atlanta during the Wayne Williams, well, right after then. When I went to, and I can't for the life of me, Nancy Grace has to know this, and she doesn't tell any of it. She worked there for the district attorney, and I can't, they were close friends. Anyway, I was there at the DA's office, and I won't get into the role play, and I'll just get back and say that it's out of text for someone to do this. And the reporter that took me in his office, well, there's a bunch of reporters, talked to me for a little bit, and he was supposed to walk me back down. Instead, he put me on the elevator, and you know where I went, up to the top floor. Got off, and I gave a letter that I'd typed up, and information, and the next thing I knew, they were going to give it to Catherine Graham. I had two policemen, I believe it was two, that came out, or their own security, I don't remember now, and they took me the shoulder into the elevator and took me to the front door and shoved me out. And as I'm being shoved out, one of the guys at the information desk, black man, said, "We'll see you later." Well, that hasn't happened. But back to this before I lose it. So the media has been a part of this. They're controlled by the Rockefellers, Rothschilds. So I wanted to get really to where I am now. The last place I've gone, I stayed there 2 months. And this is done at such a high level, people can pretend they don't believe it or help me, and they haven't helped me. They've helped to hurt me. It's unbelievable if it's ever told. Their reaction to me, I'm just a messenger that told it, besides being the monarch of Great Britain, and my money flowed in here in all kinds of ways. But I want to get back to this. Someone at Channel 7, I've gone there with all this since I came here in 86, October, all the media. And remember, I've lived on the Appalachian Trail and starved and frozen. I've done everything in the book, used my money when I had any, and Xeroxed everything in the book to get it to the media, to get them to tell the truth. I don't know where my children are and what's happened to them. So anyway, their job is to tell the truth, the media. That's if you want to hire somebody for a job description, I would think that the media is supposed to tell the truth and not delete it. Can you think of what will happen if this all is finally told? And isn't it a shame that it has to be told by the very media who's deleting it, the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, the global government that helped kidnap me? Now, I want to get to this. A guy walked up to me, and I'm having to beg for food a few years back. And he was dressed just casually, like somebody else like me. Well, he looked like a pauper, how they made me look, dragging bags around, trash bags, etc., trying to live and tell all this. But he walked up behind me, and he came around, and he said my name, and I said, well, the name I have to use. He said, "My wife works for Channel 7, and he says they're told what to go out and film and not to film, and they're not going to tell anything about you or what you're saying." So now then, 2 years ago, Allison Parker and Adam Ward. Allison was a reporter at WDBJ7, and he was a cameraman. They were shot in the same way that all these shootings, some of them, happened. The shooter came out of nowhere over at Smith Mountain Lake when they were filming and shot them and killed them. And he had worked for WDBJ7, and his name, or his AKA name, was Williams, as in you could go back to Wayne Williams, but there's more than that that fits in the Allison and the Adam, and the fact that it's being done. It's an ongoing pattern that this is being done, like in Charlottesville. You're talking about mind control murders being used to. Well, it's been used. It can be used for mass armies, and Snowden tried to tell a bit of this. What I want to say here, though, is I couldn't get a place to be where I was living out there. They started paving, and it had been a month of hell out there anyway, toxic fumes, and my kidneys, every part of my body going. So I had to find another place, and it was all booked. Come find out this morning why it's booked tomorrow, and I really can't afford it. But anyway, I can't. Anyway, I found out this morning that they're having a fundraising, and so, well, all these people love Allison and Adam. All these people hate my guts, and all I've done is tell them the truth, and it's who I am. It's okay that you can kidnap me. My mom was an American, by the way. And it's really a joke. But anyway, tomorrow is when they're having a golf classic. They're having, I don't know how many motorcyclists are coming in here. And one's at 10 and one's at 2 tomorrow. And it's a fundraising in memorial for Adam and Allison. And all these funds that they make up are going to charity or to colleges for memorial for them. Now, they've done a few things like this over the last 2 years for Allison and Adam. My question to everybody and all that's happened to me, they could have printed the truth. An attempt could be made. They could have printed the truth. Where were they when they built all the homes, habitat here? Why couldn't I be allowed some respect? I'm the messenger that told this. I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and I'm the legal heir to the British Crown the day I was born, and then that's when they had to kidnap me. Okay, what part, because you claim to be of the Christian faith, what part of the 10 Commandments did you not understand? And what part of the job description of being the news media did you not understand?